CIA versus KGB, the deadliest game of intelligence. Part 1. The birth of the spy war. The most dangerous wars are never fought on battlefields. No explosion, no victory parades, no names carved into stone, only silence. And during the Cold War, two organizations turned silence into the deadliest weapon on Earth. On one side, the Central Intelligence Agency. On the other, the Komitet Gosударственной Безопасности, the CIA, the KGB. This is not a story of heroes. It is a story of lies, betrayals, and lives erased so completely that history barely remembers they existed. In 1945, the world stopped breathing. Cities were reduced to ash. Families were gone. Entire nations were broken. World War II had ended, but peace did not arrive. Instead, fear changed direction. Two former allies emerged from the ruins, the United States and the Soviet Union. They smiled in public, they shook hands for photographs, but privately each believed the same terrifying truth: whoever controls information controls the future. And so the next war would not be loud, it would be invisible. In Washington, fear spread quietly. Soviet spies were rumored to be everywhere. Inside universities, inside laboratories, inside government offices. America had no centralized intelligence defense. That changed in 1947. With the stroke of a pen, President Harry Truman created the Central Intelligence Agency. On paper, its purpose was simple: gather information, protect national security. In reality, the CIA was given permission to operate where laws did not exist, to interfere, to manipulate, to destroy threats before the public ever knew they existed. Its agents would not wear uniforms, they would wear faces. CIA operatives were trained to disappear. No medals, no recognition, no guarantees of rescue. They learned how to lie so convincingly that even they began to forget the truth. They memorized fake childhoods, fake families, fake grief, and they accepted one rule above all others: if you are caught, you are already dead. In the Soviet Union, paranoia was not a weakness, it was policy. Joseph Stalin trusted no one. He believed betrayal was inevitable. So when American intelligence expanded, Moscow did not hesitate. In 1954, the Soviet Union reorganized its security forces into a single terrifying entity, the KGB. Fear, isolation, threats against loved ones, both approaches worked. Both destroyed lives, and both fed a war that no one could publicly admit was happening. The earliest victims of the spy war were not soldiers. They were scientists, engineers, diplomats. Secrets leaked. Nuclear programs advanced faster than expected. Each side accused the other, but the truth was more dangerous. Both were bleeding information, and neither knew how badly. The most dangerous spy is not the one sneaking across borders. It is the one already inside. Moles were embedded deep. Inside governments, inside intelligence agencies, inside trusted institutions. Every meeting became suspicious. Every report was questioned. Some agents began carrying suicide pills because interrogation was worse than death. Part 2. Inside the CIA's secret empire. By the early 1950s, the CIA had already learned a dangerous truth. Spying alone was not enough. Information could warn. It could predict, it could expose, but it could not control outcomes. And in the Cold War, control mattered more than truth. Officially, the CIA reported to the president. Unofficially, it operated beyond public oversight, beyond courts, beyond accountability. Inside Langley, Virginia, decisions were made that would never appear in history books. Governments would fall, leaders would vanish, wars would begin quietly, without declarations. And the American public would never be told. The CIA rewrote the rules of conflict: no uniforms, no national flags, no public victories, instead plausible deniability. Every operation was designed so that, if exposed, the United States could simply say, "We were never there." And often, that lie worked. Part 3. Inside the KGB's killing machine. If the CIA ruled through deception, the KGB ruled through fear. The Soviet Union did not fear invasion, it feared betrayal. Betrayal was everywhere. The KGB was more than a government service. It was the system itself. It monitored citizens, soldiers, scientists, politicians, even its own officers. Trust was a luxury no one could afford. One suspicious glance, one overheard conversation, it could destroy a life. KGB interrogations were not about collecting information quickly. They were about breaking a person entirely. Body, mind, and spirit. Sleep deprivation, isolation. Threats against family. Violence was sometimes unnecessary. Fear lasted longer than pain. Confessions were extracted from people who had committed no crime. Some begged for death. The KGB's reach extended far beyond Soviet borders. Foreign operatives were trained to blend perfectly into everyday life. Years of preparation, decades of patience. Some spies built careers, families, ordinary lives, all while secretly serving Moscow. The KGB understood the best spy is invisible. Paranoia worked both ways. Officers suspected each other. Rumors ended careers overnight. Yet the system persisted. Moles were planted deep in Western intelligence, including the CIA. Patience was the deadliest weapon of all. By the 1960s, CIA and KGB officers shared the same fear they could no longer trust anyone. The double agents were already preparing to change the course of history. The real war was inside their own walls. Part 4. Double agents and ultimate betrayals. A double agent is not loyal to two sides. They are loyal to themselves. Money, ego, fear, revenge. Every double agent believes they are smarter than the system. Most of them are wrong. To the CIA, they were trusted colleagues. To the KGB, they were priceless weapons. Double agents lived between identities, feeding each side just enough truth to remain valuable. A correct detail here, a small lie there. Operations failed quietly. Agents walked into traps they never saw coming. No one understood why. One false report could dismantle an entire network. Safe houses compromised, coded systems exposed, years of intelligence erased overnight. When arrests followed, both agencies blamed coincidence. They were wrong. Someone inside was pulling the strings. As betrayals mounted, paranoia spread. Every report was questioned. Every success felt suspicious. Meetings became tense. Silence grew heavy. Some officers stopped sharing information, afraid it would be weaponized against them. The spy war turned inward. Exposure was never dramatic. No speeches. No final words. Just sudden removal. In the West, careers ended in disgrace. In the East, lives ended. Double agents who were caught faced interrogation designed not to punish, but to make an example. Very few double agents escaped. Some vanished into prisons. Some disappeared completely. A rare few defected and lived under protection for the rest of their lives, always watching shadows, always waiting. By the 1970s, both CIA and KGB officers shared a secret belief: the greatest threat was no longer the enemy. It was the person sitting next to you. Part 5. Berlin, the world's deadliest spy city. If the Cold War had a center, it was Berlin. One city, two ideologies, zero mercy. East and West faced each other every single day. Soldiers stared across borders. Spies blended into crowds. Berlin was not divided by concrete. It was divided by fear. Berlin offered everything: crowds to vanish into, borders to exploit, desperation on both sides. The CIA recruited defectors from the East. The KGB recruited idealists from the West. Everyone was listening. Everyone was lying. Spies rarely met face to face. Information moved silently. A chalk mark, a cigarette pack, a folded newspaper. Miss one signal and you were exposed. Make one mistake and you were finished. When the Berlin Wall rose, the world saw separation. Spies saw opportunity. Tunnels were dug. Listening devices buried deep. For a time, Western intelligence listened to Soviet conversations. They believed they were winning. They were wrong. The KGB knew about the tunnel. They allowed it to exist. They fed it lies. False confidence spread. Decisions were made based on controlled misinformation. It was a masterclass in deception. And it worked. Some spies were arrested. Some were exchanged on bridges under gray skies. Others simply disappeared. Berlin kept their secrets. It always has. Part 6. Operations that nearly triggered World War III. The Cold War was never calm. It was restrained chaos. And sometimes that restraint nearly failed. A mistranslated report, a radar error, a false confirmation. These were not small mistakes, they were extinction-level events. Missiles were prepared. Retaliation plans reviewed. Seconds mattered. Leaders relied on intelligence they barely understood. Spies shaped perception. Analysts worked without sleep, and sometimes bad information moved the world closer to destruction. History remembers leaders. It forgets the quiet men who hesitated, officers who delayed orders, analysts who questioned data, individuals who trusted instinct over protocol. Their names remain classified. Their decisions saved humanity. As tensions peaked, both agencies turned inward. Purges followed failures. Careers were destroyed. Some officers were imprisoned by their own governments. The spy war began eating itself. By the late Cold War, planning for nuclear war was routine. Spies gathered information knowing it might never matter, because if it was used, there would be no one left to read. Part 7. The collapse of the Soviet Union and secrets still buried. In 1991, the Soviet Union collapsed. Flags fell, statues crumbled. The Cold War officially ended. For spies, nothing truly ended. The KGB shattered, files were burned, others were sold. Some officers disappeared into private power, others vanished forever. Decades of secrets were lost or buried. In Washington, victory felt empty. Too many lives destroyed. Too many unanswered questions. Former agents struggled to adapt. Some spoke. Many never did. Most operations remain classified. Names erased. Failures hidden. Moments when luck alone prevented catastrophe. History looks clean. Reality never was. The Cold War was never cold. It was fought in shadows, paid for in silence, and won by no one. The deadliest wars are the ones you never see. And somewhere, right now, another spy is waiting. Conclusion: the CIA and KGB would continue their shadow wars. Agents would vanish. Double agents would emerge. Lives would be destroyed and rebuilt in secret. And somewhere in another city, another scientist would be worth more than gold. Another hunter would follow another shadow. Some battles are never recorded, only remembered in silence. In the world of spies, no victory is final. One story ends, another begins. Subscribe before the next mission starts, and press the bell icon.